Hello there, and welcome back to Knights of the Nerd Republic. I am your host, Jarod the Dark Jedi, and I am joined by your favorite Gungan advocate, the Professor, Levi Baum.
Oh, yo, boyos. How's it going?
Hearing you say it very phonetically and not in the Gungan accent, it was kind of unsettling. So I'm just gonna leave that there and hope you never do that again. We have a very light news week. However, we have a lot to talk about as a little show called Star Wars: The Clone Wars had its triumphant return this week. Yes, all around. But before we get into all of that, Levi, how was your week?
I didn't get a lot of sleep this time around.
Yeah, I feel that.
All of that homework I was talking about last time we did this, it happened.
It happened.
I went to bed at 4 a.m. last Friday.
Yeah.
Yesterday. Not to date the episode or whatever, but...
I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, so... And I was completing my registration I had to turn in for pre-student teaching, which was just a little bit of busy work. The bulk of it was I had to type a paper for my English literature up to Thomas Milton, Forefather Wolfston. And we're still in the Middle Ages right now, so we were looking at Beowulf, we're looking at Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, and we had to use something that we went over in class and compare it to something we didn't go over in class. That was the extent of the prompt. We had to turn in our own thesis and whatever. So
I got a teaser for this story in the group chat, so I'm excited.
Okay. Yeah. I said, you know what, if I'm gonna waste my time on this, it might as well be something I can kind of something that would allow me to complete it by the due date. So I went with, all right, how can I compare Beowulf to My Hero Academia? Which is a very, for those of you who don't know, is a very, very popular manga and anime. It's actually, it's kind of taking over as far as comic book sales are concerned. But yeah, so I went along with that. I looked at how Beowulf treats the idea of fate, or in the Anglo-Saxon, Wyrd, W-Y-R-D. So Beowulf is kind of embracing his fate. He's indifferent to death. If it is my time to die, I die, right? No need to worry about it. Whereas the main character in My Hero, he kind of, the only fate he's going towards is the one he chose on his own. And his actions, as you have seen, Jarod, actually changed the future.
Yeah.
More than once.
I think that's an interesting way of putting it, because I think his fate kind of chose him. He was on the track to just being Joe Donut with no quirk. Then, a very interesting set of circumstances took him down a very specific road.
No, I will respectfully contest that.
Yeah.
I will say that, to defend my own point, and this is what I talked about in the paper, Deku, who I will, that's Izuku, but I'm going to call him Deku because that's shorter. He started off in the 20% of people who don't have quirks, so there he has that not going for him. But despite that, he's still trying to gun for UA. His dream is to be the #1 hero when he's destined, even All Might told him, become a cop instead, And it was Deku's actions, heroic actions, that got him One for All.
That's fair. Yeah.
And then, All Might was talking to him. He said, I think I would have died if not for you. And that goes into, Night Eye's vision of All Might's terrible death at the hands of a villain. It's strongly implied that's the All for One fight. And then we see, there's no guesswork needed when Night Eye saw Deku's future. Yeah. He was supposed to die fighting Overhaul. But again, he didn't.
Very brutally.
Yeah, so it's Deku's determination that is changing fate for him.
I love that. I love everything you just said and everything you're doing.
Yeah,
You're
and
brilliant.
5 pages, one night. It's not the hardest stuff I've done, but I'm tired. Still tired. How about you? How was your week?
My week was pretty busy. This is my first week solo bartending at this club.
Woo!
So, yeah.
Do I get free drinks once I get to be 21?
Well, once you're 21 and become a member up there.
Never mind.
I think the membership opens up next month.
Okay.
So, I don't know how long it's open for. So, I mean, I'm going to become a member and I can sign in. I think it's up to like 2 or 3 people at once. So, between that and the fact that the people up there are super like, oh, hey, I'll sign somebody in if they want to pop their head in.
Nice.
I think I'm actually heading up there tonight, actually, to have a couple drinks with a friend or two in my travels today. But, yeah, outside of that, a whole lot of work. Like I was telling you off the air, I got the Soul Calibur 6 bug bit me again.
Yes, it did.
And I've been back at playing that very hard and going ham on character creator. Very proud of my.
What did you make?
I made Kylo Ren, both Last Jedi and Force Awakens versions. I'm in the process of making Iron Man. I did a big overhaul on my character. Yes. Went ham and completely redid that.
So your custom Jarod.
Yes.
All right, I'll have to see that one.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say, as like a little tradition, hopping in the Wayback Machine all the way back to when I was in like 6th grade. Anytime any of my friends, our whole group got together, there was almost always a Soul Calibur tournament involved.
Okay.
And I was like, oh yeah, like what better way to do this than, since there's character creator, everybody have their own character.
Yeah.
And since I was really the only one who played Soul Calibur, my whole logic was it doesn't really matter what fighting style I give everybody because they'll just kind of learn and adapt to whatever they have to.
Right.
And
right.
And that's just kind of been a tradition. So like I've tweaked my guy. The character that Spencer has made since like 2012 finally got added as DLC. So we've been able to like properly have the way Spencer has always played this game in there. Yeah, just having a lot of fun with that. Looking forward to the next time.
That's awesome.
We can,
yeah,
all pal around and play Soul Calibur for a while.
Those Kylo Rens I saw, very good. Who else did you create?
Oh, did I not mention them yet?
You did not.
Oh, I made All Might for My Hero Academia, and I'm so proud of how it turned out.
It looks really good.
This may be my crown jewel. It looks really
good.
This may be my crown jewel right now.
I think he's better than Scrooge.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah.
Every time I forget that you made Scrooge McDuck. Because a little background for you guys. Whenever Soul Calibur 6 came out, like the night of launch, Spencer happened to be in town and Levi is local. So we all got together, and at the time that this is coming out, Levi's trying to like get me into My Hero Academia, get me into anime, like full stop. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to watch your stuff, you're going to experience how goddamn weird the Soul Calibur lore is firsthand.
It's weird.
It's very strange. And the nice thing about the campaign of Soul Calibur 6 is it's essentially a soft reboot of the first two and a half games squished into one storyline so that everybody can be brought back up to speed because of how convoluted 4 and 5 are. But it was hilarious. And like Spencer's never like truly understood the lore of Soul Calibur. Like he understood like good holy sword, bad soul-sucking sword. And that's really all he knew was like evil sword, good sword. He didn't realize how strange it was at its core. So, like I said, putting you guys through that little crash course was very fun. Especially the hearty helping of sheets on top of that.
Oh, yeah.
But... yeah, this house stands Soul Calibur, and that was a good time.
Yeah, you two fell asleep like a bunch of weaklings.
Yeah.
And so
this is launch night. This is launch of the goddamn game.
So I asked Jarod if I could borrow his smartphone, and he allowed. So I spent the night making just a bunch of custom characters that they can wake up to and look at. And one of them was Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, you made Scrooge. You made like the entire cast of Ruby.
I did. I made one character from the Seven Deadly Sins, another popular anime.
Yeah.
Which he probably looks the closest to his original character.
It was just hilarious. I remember waking up and because I knew you were like, can I make some shit? And I don't want to play around with this. And I was like, yeah, sure, go nuts. Because Spencer's out cold. I felt myself fading while you were making some of them, and then I woke up to like Scrooge McDuck. But yeah,
Good
lots
times.
of fun stuff. Well, now that we've talked about other shit for 10 minutes, we do have some Star Wars stuff to talk about.
Yes, we do. What story were we starting with, Jarod?
We can start with... I'll take point on this one. So, allegedly, the director of Slate and the director of Slate and the writer for the Luke Cage Netflix show, J.D. Dillard and Matt Owens, respectively, are being drafted by Disney to write up a new Star Wars project.
Wow.
It is not clear if this is what the next movie on deck is, or if it is meant to be something coming down the line. Again, there's all of the confusion as to... because the weird thing about the Star Wars movies right now is that we don't know like which one is which. Like the Rian Johnson trilogy, Disney and Rian Johnson have all said that it's still happening, but there hasn't been any real movement on it. So we don't know when that's coming out. We don't know what's happening with the stuff that was originally supposed to be helmed by the Game of Thrones showrunners. And then we also have whatever project that Kevin Feige is supposed to be producing. Now, there is a chance that some of this, kind of melds into each other, that like the Rian Johnson project becomes the Benioff and Weiss project, or Kevin Feige is producing the Rian Johnson project, vice versa. But again, this is originally reported by The Hollywood Reporter. We're going off of the Collider article. Per THR, Dillard and Owens have been tapped to develop the project, which has no known plot or character details at the moment. It's also unclear if Dillard will direct should the project move forward, but the report does note that the project is said to be unrelated to the potential projects from Feige and Rian Johnson. So we have another flag here to keep our eyes on.
What would you like to see from these two?
From these two? My knee-jerk whenever I hear about writers and directors being brought on board for a project that we don't know what it is, my knee-jerk is always that they should play to their strengths. So knowing that this is the Luke Cage writer, I'd like to see something kind of underworldy. Because like he was really good at like getting that feel of the superhuman crime infested New York down really well. He's a very talented writer. Luke Cage is it's not Daredevil or Jessica Jones, but granted those shows they go in a different direction than Luke Cage does tonally. Right. So I don't know. I would really like to see something underworld based because again, I feel like that would be playing to their strengths. Yeah. But
that could be an excuse to bring back Dash Rendar.
It could be. It could be
Black Sun. Well, no, that wouldn't work because Black Sun's already with Darth Maul and stuff.
Well, I mean, briefly though.
Briefly, but
because after
do you think they'd be able to build back up that quickly?
I mean, it all depends on when they set it as well, like I don't think that, especially with the one story we have here, I don't think that Lucasfilm is chomping at the bit to set any television or film material after the Rise of Skywalker, just out of fear of creating a muddied situation. So
but
I get
they have a lot to work with.
No, they totally
they can choose anything.
You have thousands of years, tens of thousands of years to set anything. So that I think that's the fun of a lot of Star Wars rumblings is like, when can you set this alleged project? So yeah, interesting stuff. We're gonna see what comes of it. Two very talented creators, and it's always good to see.
One of them has worked with Disney before.
Yes.
Yeah.
So lots of fun stuff. Yeah. You want to take this next one?
Yeah. What is it?
Here. Hold up.
I brought my laptop. You would think I have it with me, sitting here.
Okay, well, in that case, you want to just read the stories and then we can riff on them?
Sure.
Because like I said, there's not a whole lot of news, and this is just kind of like we're just basically treating this as a straight shot to talk about Clone Wars.
Yeah. That's what we want to talk about. That's what the listeners want to hear about.
Yeah, the news is important and deserves to be talked about. So we have this really weird rumor coming out of The Mandalorian that WWE superstar Sasha Banks is being drafted into the fold here. So, according to sources via popular Mat Men Pro Wrestling podcast, none other than WWE's Sasha Banks will guest star in season 2 of The Mandalorian. And allegedly, she's already shot her scenes, and obviously the new season comes out in October. It does sound like a random choice.
Cool.
However, we also have Gina Carano, who is
MMA.
Yeah, who made her name in combat sports as well. So I understand the mentality of like, and this isn't the first time like a wrestler has been drafted into a movie kind of abruptly. It's the first time it's happened in Star Wars, and I feel like everybody went, "Whoa, Star Wars isn't immune to this," because John Cena. Yeah, Travis isn't here to like very loudly play that into
John Cena,
Dave Bautista,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah,
I
feel like the amount of people who like probably
who's actually a pretty decent actor.
Yeah, all three
and
of them
voice
are.
actor.
Yeah.
So
Johnson's great. Cena's fun to watch. Dave Bautista has range that I don't think anybody would have expected him to have.
Yeah, so I don't have many reservations about this.
No, I think it's
I think it's a scenario of, I know someone who's working with this, and they asked me if I wanted to have a part, but doesn't really matter all that much to me. It's a series, it's a TV series, not the same importance as a movie. Yeah,
I don't know if you're aware of this. That's exactly how Cameron Monaghan ended up in
oh, really?
Rise of Skywalker. He and J.J. Abrams, because J.J. Abrams and Monaghan are close friends. They made a bet on a soccer game, and Abrams lost, and that's why Cameron Monaghan had to be in the movie.
Oh, nice.
And I feel like if J.J. Abrams won that bet, Rose Tico would have had like 3 times the lines she had in The Rise of Skywalker. But that's whatever. But yeah, very interesting story, and hopefully it comes true, because I know people get excited to see the weird crossovers there.
Yeah.
The other little mini story here, there's a rumor that Fallen Order 2 is coming.
Whoa.
As is the norm for anything Star Wars, don't trust all the headlines you're reading.
Yeah.
Fallen Order is not confirmed by EA.
Well, it's confirmed by the Stupendous Wave.
Oh, yes, totally. I try to avoid... I only typically like go for the throat when it's like a Phantom Menace person. But like I saw that YouTube, that thing on YouTube while I was trying to like watch the tutorial on the Iron Man custom character. And I was like, what do you mean it's confirmed? Because I would have seen this on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook before randomly checking YouTube. And I Google it, and like every other report is rumor.
Yeah.
So be careful out there. This is from Comic Book. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2 is reportedly already in the works with Respawn and EA, presumably for the PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. The report comes out from Kotaku, who notes that EA currently has 2 Star Wars projects in the oven. One of these is a smaller, more unusual project at EA Motive that EA has already confirmed to be in development. Meanwhile, the other is a sequel to Fallen Order, which debuted last year on the current generation of consoles. Had a plethora of bugs and performance issues, but it had good reviews and strong sales. So it's not a huge surprise that it's getting a sequel. I feel like,
Oh, no.
Again, everybody loved the story and, the performance bugs.
It's nothing Skyrim doesn't have, and that's like the biggest game.
Yeah, it's one of those situations.
Don't quote me on that, but
no, I know what you mean though. Like everybody universally loves Skyrim, and Skyrim is littered with bugs.
Yes.
Same thing with Fallen Order.
Yeah.
It is littered with like really stupid bugs and issues, but everybody loves it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Unfortunately, our Fallen Order aficionado, Connor Chikiti is not present with us, but he did share with us his thoughts, and we're gonna through this let him speak his piece. So I'll be reading for him, so you're not gonna hear his F-bombs. So I apologize. So that's the delivery bias, I suppose, but he overall is excited. So, well, he's pumped, obviously, because it's Fallen Order. That's his favorite franchise. So he's gonna wonder how they're continuing or furthering Cal's arc in the sequel. I don't know much about Fallen Order, but other than what I've read. But so he thinks that Malicos and the Ninth Sister are not dead, so they could reappear as bosses for Cal to fight. Yes, he can fight both of them in gameplay and story sense. What do you think about that? You look like you have something to say.
I will say that what happens to Taron Malicos is vague at best, because it basically ends in him being turned into a brick by one of the Night Sisters on Dathomir. But there is no way in hell the Ninth Sister is still alive. She fell from the top of the origin tree on Kashyyyk. That's like a 3-mile drop.
So Ninth Sister, does that mean like an Inquisitor?
Yeah, the big ugly one.
Doesn't she doesn't have a helicopter saber?
Well, she also lost her hand in that fight, which was a big part of that as well. And I'm pretty sure her saber gets damaged as well. The moral of the story is the Ninth Sister is
what
big
if she
dead.
Operates it manually? Like it's all in the wrist,
I'm so glad that they don't actually show like the helicopter saber being used like that in the game, because I think they realize that like you can literally only do that in a cartoon. There's no way, like even like the photorealism of Fallen Order to have just like everyone's just gonna check out immediately. Especially with how like intimidating all of the bosses are in this game.
Oh yeah.
And it's something that Connor has called attention to and loves, and it's very much that in the same way that, it doesn't take an incredibly observant mind to recognize that all of the baddies of the prequel trilogy are all precursors to Vader. Or like you have Maul, who's like consumed by anger and hatred, Dooku, who's a fallen Jedi, and Grievous, who is
a Jedi hunter.
A Jedi, a mechanical monstrosity of a Jedi hunter. Where with Fallen Order, you have a cast of characters who are all dealing with really profound trauma.
Right.
Cal, his new Jedi mentor, Seer, Trilla, the second sister, the main antagonist of the game, and Taron Malicos are all Jedi who have all handled the Purge in very different ways. Cal is your stereotype. He went underground and tried to just pretend he was never a Jedi.
Yeah.
Seer never gave up the fight, but after being touched by the dark side, basically pulled a Luke in The Last Jedi and severed her connection from the Force. Trilla is Seer's Padawan who feels as though Seer abandoned her, and she becomes part of the Inquisitorius and, loses her mind and becomes consumed with hatred. And Terran Malicos basically has a very neutral, evil, like, I'm just going to consolidate power around me.
Yeah.
Because the Jedi philosophy failed me, so I'm going to go in the opposite direction of Jedi philosophy.
I respect that.
And even the Ninth Sister, like, you don't get much of her origins as a Jedi, but like while she's fighting Cal, she makes it very clear that she's trying to recruit him. Yeah, and the objective is, I'm either going to kill you or I'm going to bring you in alive and you're going to become one of us. And the Ninth Sister doesn't stop talking about how much, like, the Empire will take everything from you the way it took everything from me. And this is a part of it. This is the only thing a Jedi has to live for now, is to be stripped of their humanity. Like, and there's even, you feel bad for her during the fight.
Yeah.
And you kind of get that sense of, like, oh, you're a monster and you've committed atrocities and have, been a part of the genocide of the Jedi Order. But there's also a part of me that's like, I feel like I put her out of her misery in a really dark sense, where it's like, you clearly hate yourself and hate that you're a part of all of this. So here's to you. And, it's very dark, and it deals with trauma, and it doesn't put a pretty bow on any of it. So I'd love to see Cal as a full-fledged Jedi now, working through that. And even though I love Cal, me personally, I'm more excited to see what happens with Seer and see her return to being a Jedi of a true Jedi.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, you would love it so
much.
You
and Connor will have to talk more about the Ninth Sister, because I can't speak for him on that. But and then he finishes up his expectations. So with a sequel, right, that's a whole other game that can be used to explore more planets, different types of enemies, I guess both in gameplay style and in lore style.
Yeah.
And he would also like to see some more force or combat abilities factored into the game. And more, and I quote, Cal Kestis playability.
That makes sense. So, I want to see more in the way of customization. That was my biggest thing. Was it like the only things you can really change are like the color of Cal's jacket and the design of his poncho? And it's weird because like that customization is so limited, whereas like the lightsaber customization, this is the best it's ever been.
Wow.
Like in any game, like this beats, this beats the console version, or like the main console version of The Force Unleashed, and it surpasses the Wii version of The Force Unleashed, because in my opinion, when it comes to saber customization, the Wii had the consoles beat, because you can change the hilt, you can change, the shades of the crystals.
You can change the, I forget what they're called now. And the old, like the energy crystals, I guess. Yeah. Like those will give you different power-ups.
Exactly. Yeah. Like there are all these different things that you could really tweak in the Wii version. So like this goes even further beyond that. Obviously there's a cool part where like they have all the Galaxy's Edge parts. So if you went to Galaxy's Edge, you can build your lightsaber in the game, nice. Which I have. There's a lot there. I want to see more from Cal on a customization level, because again, it just became like, okay, here's his outfit, but in orange, in kind of like a weird yellow, in black, in brown, and then like a bunch of weird poncho options. And that's on the very short list of like hard complaints that I have. So I'd like to see more customization. And
Connor also mentions willingness to play as other characters as well, which goes in line with just exploring everything that they haven't, I guess, in the first Fallen Order. So in general, I believe he is excited to see what the sequel has in store. I don't have a bone in this myself, because I'm stuck with a 360, so.
One of these days, I'll just let you take my whole
and a
unit
PC,
to play
but I haven't spent money on a game in a long time. So
it could be a birthday present.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Last bit of news here before we get into the meat and potatoes of Clone Wars. We have our first post Rise of Skywalker story.
Oh yeah.
And it's not even in the main line of Marvel Comics.
Nope. Was it Star Wars Adventures?
Yeah. In the IDW, Star Wars Adventures will tell the first story set after the Rise of Skywalker.
Oh.
The little solicitation for it reads as follows. IDW is relaunching Star Wars Adventures in May 2020 to feature post the Rise of Skywalker stories with Rey, Poe, and Finn. And that is... how do I put this? I don't know where the stories could go necessarily. Like, obviously it's implied that like Rey's next step is to like rebuild the Jedi Order and everything. Again, the way the movie leaves her is just being so very much Luke Skywalker 2.0 in so many ways. I have a hard time really getting it. Like, because it's Rey, I'm interested in what it is, because I like her as a character very much, but there's still that little bit of like, they're just making you do what Luke did. Speaking of Luke, we also did get that image from the next issue of the Star Wars comic, where apparently Luke has a yellow lightsaber between Empire and Jedi, which looks cool. I know Joel is very happy about that.
Yes, he is.
Favorite color and favorite crystal.
Yep.
It was like me seeing Ben use blue. I was just like, ooh. Gives me chills.
Yeah.
But you know, I look forward to seeing how they handle the whole like fall of the First Order remnant. Again, I think that story line would be far more interesting if Ben Solo was the one bringing down the remnant of the First Order.
We gotta let it go.
I am at peace with the decision that they've made. To quote the Adventures, I recognize the council has made a decision, but granted that it is a stupid ass decision, I have elected to ignore it. However,
canon.
I've not ignored it. I'm aware of the fact that Ben has died.
Yeah.
However, in the same way that I will always attest that in Revenge of the Sith, Anakin should have fought Mace Windu, and that it may have, in that Phantom Menace has some structure issues that you could probably cut the whole Anakin being a slave thing, and you know, you can restructure that story and make it a lot more cohesive. But like, it's most of my like, if I could change it, I would be in Revenge of the Sith. Well, it was until Rise of Skywalker. But like, even though I love Revenge of the Sith, like, I feel like that movie should have gone over a longer amount of time. He should have, you know, Mace and Anakin should have fought. That movie should have had a very clear, like, I don't think the fall of the Republic should happen overnight. And because of the structure issues that the Revenge of the Sith has, it creates really weird continuity errors. Like Leia saying she remembers her mother.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Where,
well, yeah. Could always explain it. Yeah, something. I'm connected with the Force. I can remember.
Yeah, and obviously you can do that, and you know the Star Wars comics again do a little bit of legwork for that as well, because you know Leia shows up on Naboo at one point on rebellion business, and she walks through the hangar where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan fought Darth Maul, and she could like feel Maul's presence in the Force there. Because he tainted the Force around him, like most very profound Darksiders do.
Yeah,
and like the panel is really interesting because it's her standing in the doorway that like opens up for the Duel of Fates, and it's her standing there, but like washed over it is Darth Maul's face.
Wow,
and very translucent art. It's very beautiful.
Cool.
So yeah, like I said, like I am not going to pretend that the Rise of Skywalker isn't canon or didn't happen, but like. I will probably never be able to get over the amount of story opportunities they could have had with Ben Solo, who like every single issue of The Rise of Kylo Ren has sold out. And they have had to do many, many reprints because of public demand. and excitement over this character. This is the premier character of Disney Star Wars. You know, like you can make as many Baby Yoda animatronics as you want to. Like, people love Kylo Ren because his story is so beautiful, so bittersweet, and so tragic. And I think people would be even more excited for, like, okay, Rise of Skywalker is over. Ben Solo has turned back to the light side. Now you can read about his trials of faith to prove that he is, one for the light side again.
Maybe
because
the only fear I would have with keeping him alive is that they stretch a character out too long. Because I like that he died, right?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that.
He's like
mentality.
A great character, the perfect character. Finish his story up. Don't let them touch it anymore than it has to be.
And the pushback I have for that is the fact that, like, we saw so little of Ben, and that's what hurts me. Is that within 5 minutes, he steals the show. Between ouch, the shrug, seeing him fight with a weapon that he doesn't actually have to keep at arm's length to prevent himself from disemboweling himself. Mm-hmm. And, and again, a lot of this comes back to Adam Driver's performance. Because, like, he was so good at having Kylo Ren be so rigid, and even his speech is stunted. And the way he fights, there's just this, like, he's just this block of just anger and self-doubt. But, like, the second he sheds who Kylo Ren is,
he's no longer contained.
He's loose. He's he that's the only way I can describe it.
In his element.
Yeah.
In his true element.
Yeah, and you can see his father in him. You can even see a little bit of his, the better parts of Anakin in him, in the way that there's that very, like, broad fighting style that is very, Gemso Anakin-esque. So I think I think the Star Wars canon could have benefited from more stories about Ben.
You're certainly probably right. And there's a certain series that I am a great fan of that has the same problem as this, but I'm not gonna tell you what it is yet because I'm gonna get you to watch it.
Okay, that's fair. With all the news out of the way, The Bad Batch.
The Bad Batch. Ooh.
How'd you feel about this? Also, whenever we're done talking, Spencer will. Spencer has pre-recorded his thoughts on the episode, so
cool.
We'll riff, and then Spencer will go.
Splice that in, and
then we'll do the outro.
Alrighty. Yeah, so you're letting me go first?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are we supposed to keep this spoiler-free?
At this point,
no?
Nights is going to be an after show, so listen at your own risk. This is your spoiler warning.
Okay. I'm not sure that I appreciate Echo not being dead.
I think, okay, my biggest...
Or maybe he is dead. And
so this is one of the stories that is, like, existed as the unfinished animatics on StarWars.com at one point. Mm-hmm. And the reveal about Echo was handled very differently. Originally, it was left up in the air as to how the Separatists have reverse engineered Rex's strategies.
Because at first I was just thinking, well, it's because it's Trench.
Yeah, Trench is brilliant, and he's been going head to head with the 501st so often
for a long time. But yeah, with that reveal, CT, I already forget the
1409. I want to say
4109.
I think that's right. 1409 or 4109. But originally, the review, the story was hurtling towards finding out that it was Echo. Whereas with this, it is made very clear from the beginning. And I think, even though I like the original way of having, like, the reveal be at the end that it has been Echo this whole time, I like that better. I think this was a smarter play because they know how long it's been for a lot of fans.
Yeah. Well,
So-
it probably is, but just
Yeah.
the fact that they did go with Echo being alive, I don't know. I liked the theme of Domino Squad. You know, once one falls, the rest fall. But it's not a bad thing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It's not how I would have done it, but I'm strapped in. I'm along for the ride. The Bad Batch, I like.
You like Rambo Fett?
Yeah, Johnny Rambo.
Yeah,
I was just
Rambo
gonna say
Fett.
that. Yeah, yeah, that's funny.
As he takes off the helmet,
It is Rambo.
I was like, this is so unsubtle.
Yeah.
Like,
There's no way around
Yeah.
it. He's
It's
always
Rambo.
calm and collected, but always on guard. You know, still polite, but
Yeah.
you know he's off his rocker.
okay,
That's Rambo.
I hate to say this because I don't want to bash the new like the first episode of the final season of Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
What was the big guy's name? I was like, I just rewatched it before you came. Like I watched
Wrecker
it.
or something.
Wrecker, yes. I got on my nerves so quickly. I like. I don't know. I feel like in a franchise like Star Wars that is full of all your favorite tropes, I didn't need big crazy guy trope. And
Well,
like,
he's part of the Bad Batch.
he is part of the Bad Batch, which is fair.
Yeah.
It was just so excessive at points. Like I didn't understand why he had to start laughing when the gunship got shot down.
Because
like-
he's crazy.
Yeah, it was just like he could have just been like, "We're going down," but it was like, "We're going down." Like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the only thing that I really liked about Wrecker was that he gave me like big Mike Doling vibes.
Really?
Yeah. That laugh, that psychosis, that's Ride the Eyes of the Dragon shit right there.
Interesting.
But yeah, I think Rambo Fett was my favorite member of the Bad Batch.
He's my favorite. Definitely.
I also like the fact that his helmet was kind of stormtrooper-y. Because it's cool because with Rex you have, aesthetically Rex's helmet has like the most of the build of the Phase 2 armor, but the eye visor is still the Phase 1 version.
Which is really cool.
Which is really cool, and it definitely sets him apart. And I like that next to him with Hunter, you have... That's his name, right? His actual name?
Yeah, it's Hunter.
That his helmet is very Phase 2 into Stormtrooper. So I thought that was cool. I think the Bad Batch's armor is really interesting looking. It's really cool aesthetically. I prefer episodes that have more Jedi action in it. So like, I wasn't.
Okay.
I didn't dislike this episode at all. Like it was excellent. Yeah. But especially when I saw Mace and Anakin so early into the episode, I was like, all right, here we go. Let's bust the sabers out.
Yeah.
And they did not bust the sabers out.
I don't know. I take what I get as long as there's like conflict. I like to see Jedi and clones. With other people, not so much. I really don't care. But
That's
fair.
fair.
Something with like Cad Bane, his arc was never my favorite, even though it's probably one of the best. It's just not my cup of tea, I guess. There are some exceptions, right? There are always exceptions to every rule. Like Embo. If you give me some Embo, I'll sit down. I'll eat some popcorn. I'll have a good time. But like,
I feel like everybody has a couple characters that they are into solely for their aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like, I think that
Embo's one of those.
Yeah, that's how I am with Cad Bane and Dengar. Like I'm in it just for how they look.
But like the droid mission.
Yeah. The only reason
miss me with that.
The only thing that really wrote me in with that is the fact that there's a lightsaber duel in that arc, you know?
Yeah, so I was a big fan of this first episode. I think it left a good first impression.
Absolutely.
What little we did see of Anakin is already telling. Like there have been some time passages, from
they drop us right back in, but you can
end of
tell
5 to beginning of 7.
Yeah,
he's already. Oh, you can tell he's not happy. He doesn't want to be there. He knows who's standing next to him.
Well, but between what happened with Ahsoka,
right? Yeah, Ahsoka left. He's
the Lost missions where he basically has.
He saw Fives get shot and killed.
That what happens with Padme during the Lost missions, where I think that I don't think Anakin ever doubted the idea of I can't live without Padme, but I like the idea that the whole Rush Clovis incident on Munilist takes him to that point of if something bad happened to you, I couldn't handle it. So yeah, I think there's a lot going on with Anakin here, and I think that we are going to get big Vader shit coming to us. I really want to see that. I really do. Yeah. Because it surprises me how little we saw of him in the trailers and the lead up. All we've seen in the trailers really is him back to back with Mace and him cutting down a droid. There's no way Anakin is in the final season that little. Yeah. I know that the big finale is going to be the Siege of Mandalore and Ahsoka fighting Darth Maul and everything. But I really, really think that we're going to, at the very least, see a Operation Nightfall montage and see Anakin's descent. Yeah.
That'd be cool. I do want to see some more interaction between Windu and Anakin.
Oh, me too. I've always loved their dynamic.
Yeah. Because
they can't stand each other.
But at the same time, they're still technically on the same team.
They're on the same team, yeah.
They have to suck it up and tolerate each other, for lack of a better phrasing.
I think there's something I've always loved about Anakin and Mace's dynamic is that, especially in the Boba Fett's revenge arc, is that there's that really funny dynamic where Anakin, especially at least early into the Clone Wars, I feel like Anakin is not at the point where he's I can't stand this asshole. He's hey, Mace, why don't you like me? What did I do to you specifically? And Mace has this very silent feeling towards Anakin. He never says these words, but you get the feeling that it's very I wish you didn't act like you. Yeah. And if you acted less like you, I'd like you a lot more. But you act like this and I can't stand you because of it. So you have this dynamic where I feel not in a overly obviously Anakin didn't technically have a father, but not in a daddy never hugged me enough type way, but in a you're friends with all of my friends, what's the problem, Mace? Yeah. A way that Anakin's trying to hey, we're doing the Jedi thing, doing Jedi stuff, and he just can't get Mace to smile. Yeah. It's again, I'm cool with Obi-Wan, you're cool with Obi-Wan, I'm cool with Ki-Adi-Mundi, you're cool with Ki-Adi-Mundi, Yoda and I are cool. What's wrong? Yeah. What did I do to you? So I really hope that they clash whenever we eventually see them together, which is probably going to be in the same arc. Because they're both stationed on an axis, and it looks like they get run by droids. Yes, which would make sense for this arc. But yeah, despite the lack of Jedi action, I was so involved. I love Trench as a villain. He
calm and collected. Yeah,
he's just aesthetically
tenacious.
He aesthetically is just one of the most interesting Star Wars antagonists. I belly laughed both times I watched the episode because I forgot that between every sentence, and I was oh yes, this is
that sound dogs make when they're looking at you, when they're hungry or something. Yeah,
you should hear how loudly Chewie does that when we give him peanut butter.
Oh really?
Oh, he's just a good half hour. Just that's all you hear. But yeah, there's a lot to love here, and I'm super excited by it. You can tell how much money they threw at the animation budget.
The artwork is good. It only took me 2 minutes to get accustomed to the minor differences.
Very
by
slight
the
change
end of,
in art style, yeah.
By the end of season 6 into 7. I will say, when they were just standing there, the way Mace kind of moved, it looked to me to be kind of wonky. But aside from that, everything else looked fine.
Clone Wars has always had like a really weird history of video game gestures.
Yeah, but by the time of like seasons 5 and 6, or even 4, like I felt they had it down pat. But yeah, and that's the only instance in this episode where I said, that doesn't look like something a human would do. So it's odd. Yeah. Yeah,
like I said, this is one of those situations, I think very similarly to The Mandalorian, where it's like, this is so good, like it's hard to give it notes, because like all the good stuff is like good beyond having to really say it.
Mm-hmm.
There was also that like one-shot corridor bit.
Yes.
Where like they're like slowly inching away from the super battle droids, and then like Rex runs in with tech to hear the transmission from Echo. The fact that like, again, like the thought process and attention to detail will be like, well, let's do this in one shot. You know, like make it feel as cinematic as possible.
Right.
A lot to love, and I'm very excited for what's coming moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
We have to wait a week. I
sucks, doesn't it?
It's killing me because I've had Clone Wars on demand for so damn long, and I could just put it. And like there was like maybe a block of like 3 months between Disney Plus and Netflix, and I was like, yes, I can watch this amazing show whenever the hell I want to. And you know,
indeed,
The Mandalorian was fun week to week. This isn't to say that like I was never like invested in The Mandalorian, because obviously I was, but like, it's different.
And for a while, it really was just episodic.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I had that, there was that, and there was the fact that it was like, I'm enjoying getting to know these characters episode by episode. Where with this, I'm like, I haven't had content with Anakin Skywalker for so goddamn long. Like, you know, I've seen Obi-Wan, I've seen Ahsoka, they've all showed up in books and shit. Give me Anakin now.
Well, it's hard because there's not much to squeeze anything new in. Because he is a finite character. His timeline is.
The last story that prominently featured Anakin was Thrawn Alliances, and that was like 2 years ago. But like, there's also like this. Because like we've waited so long for Clone Wars to come back, and like it's finally real that it's happening. And now that we got that first hit, like I'm ready for the next one.
Oh,
like inject it right into my veins now.
Speaking of which, there are 2 syringes on my road.
Oh, that's not good.
No, carry on.
Yep. I had to go into the hospital not long ago, and I thought you were like, hey, I can see that you got poked, by the way. I thought that's what you were going to say.
Not at all.
And I was like, oh, that's still there?
I'm sorry. No,
you're good.
Is it not there?
I don't think it is. I don't
I'm not
even
being
remember
an
which arm it
unobservant
was.
bad friend.
You're...
Okay, good.
I don't even think it's there anymore. I can't even remember which arm it was on. So if you're a bad friend for that, I'm just a bad human for not knowing which side I got stuck in. But it's just I miss I'm like, oh god, I friggin' love Clone Wars, and now I'm back to like get me one
hit
now.
The spot, definitely. Yeah.
I also don't like that we didn't get our episode preview at the end like they used to.
Did they used to do those?
Yeah, it was like the very brief, like next week on Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
I must have always skipped that.
I didn't, because I live for the next week preview. I lived for it.
Really?
It was also like the only way to really, again, like it was also like at the dawn of the smartphone age, but also like I was 12. Okay. So there was that. There was also the fact that that's how you knew if they were going on a hiatus or not. It was like if there was like a next week on Star Wars: The Clone Wars, it was like, yes, there's more. And then like when they didn't do that, you're like, oh, okay, like. Yeah. You know, they got to take a break now.
One Piece does that.
Yeah.
Too.
So,
But the difference is One Piece as a show isn't good right now.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, Toei animation kind of sucks a big one.
Yeah?
Yeah, because the episodes go, here's our 2-minute intro opening and thematic. Here's the 5-minute review of the last episode. Here's 10 minutes of content. Here's the ending. Here's the preview of the next.
That's rough.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It has to do with they're so almost caught up with the manga already. So it's either give us 10 minutes of the episode we watched yesterday or create filler that nobody likes. Yeah. So that's why I love...
Caught in a rock and a hard place.
That's why I love Star Wars, the Clone Wars. Because there is no filler. There's no such thing as filler in the Clone Wars because we're getting stories in the Clone Wars.
I think that
there are episodes that matter more than others.
Yeah, there's definitely that, and then you have your bigger arcs, and then you have your one-off.
Yeah,
adventures.
But it's all the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
it's all canon as well,
which is nice.
Yes.
What direction do you think this Bad Batch arc is going in? Like, what do you think
I have no idea.
Here is? Another interesting thing that I thought was curious was the fact that Jesse's still around, because in canon, Jesse. And I really hope that, they don't necessarily have to directly address it, but I hope that it is in some way leave the door open for it so it doesn't create a continuity error.
Mm-hmm.
Because in canon, after what happens with Fives, Jesse goes further into investigating the chip issue.
Oh, yeah.
Gets caught and is kidnapped and put in stasis by Count Dooku. And then the Crimson Corsair, that one guy from The Force Awakens.
Yes.
He has a short story in like a book of short stories that all tie into The Force Awakens, where he goes on an adventure to like find and raid Count Dooku's old private like cruiser. And while doing that, unearths Jesse and like wakes him up.
Oh, wow.
So I really hope that they don't accidentally wipe that nugget from canon.
Yeah.
Because even though that there isn't the old way of having like the A tier canon, B tier canon, S tier canon, even though that isn't really a thing anymore, there's still the unspoken obvious fact that what is put to screen will always take precedence.
Yeah, over comics and video games.
Yeah. And there's a hierarchy there. So I really hope that hierarchy doesn't wipe that from canon.
Right.
Because that's just so weird and cool. Mm-hmm. The idea that there is a clone trooper all the way to the sequels.
Right.
Like, that's wild. Cool. So I really hope that they're able to keep that around somehow.
I really don't know what they're gonna do. It looks like Hunter and Rex are forming a nice bond.
Yeah.
More so than Wrecker and the sniper. They hate Regs.
Yeah. Wait.
But Rex and Rambo seem to be...
Is Hunter the sniper?
No. Shouldn't be. Sniper's name has to do with sniping people.
I can't remember. Because I feel like, I've just been calling him Rambo Fett.
Bad Batch names.
Probably should have fact checked this before the episode
The Bad
started.
Batch, rated R, 2016 sci-fi thriller. Bad Batch names, Clone Wars. Clone Wars 99. The Bad Batch, fandom, Star Wars, wiki. Let us see.
Because I can't, I feel like we're getting the names right, but I want to make sure.
Mm-hmm. If the page will let me scroll down, that would be nice. Oh, I hate this. Let me scroll down. Clone Force 99. How's your day been, listeners? Been doing all right? Yeah, Clone Sergeant Hunter.
Okay.
and it's not telling me the other names.
Well, as long as we're right about Hunter,
Mm-hmm.
because he's basically the main one.
Vietnam veteran Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he seems to be getting along well with Rex.
That's good.
He already has a relationship with Cody, as seen in their interactions.
I love
Wrecker and skinny Cumberbatch looking sniper.
Yeah, with the bowl cut.
Yeah,
That's how you know he's dangerous.
They seem to hate everyone.
I love the again, like I saw this tweet. It was Joel Daly from Cape Joel, the YouTube channel, and the Comic Multiverse podcast, where it said something to the effect of like, Clone Wars has never found a war movie trope that it didn't love.
Mm-hmm.
And again, a lot of that is on full display here. Also, surprisingly, no one died in this episode, which is like baffling to me, which makes me really worry for the safety of the Bad Batch.
They'll be all right.
But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, we are gonna let Spence, the Mando Simpson, take the reins and tell you what he thought about Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 1, The Bad Batch.
Let's hear it.
Hey guys, it is Spencer, and I am so excited to be recording this little hot take reel for you. I am not able to be there for the official recording session with the rest of the guys, but I just finished watching Season 7, Episode 1, The Bad Batch, and holy cow, am I so pumped for the new content that we are getting in Season 7 of The Clone Wars. It is even more amazing to me the thought that we are getting a new episode of Clone Wars every week from now until after I get home from school for summer break. And that's just awesome. I love it. I cannot wait for every single week that this show has to offer. So pumped. But what a way to kick off this new season than with the Bad Batch. Like, I am so excited. I love my clone content. I love it, and whenever we talked about the TCW retrospective a week or so ago, one of the very few things that I asked for was to see more clone content, more development, and the Bad Batch is a great place to start. I have been craving this story arc since, I don't know, like 7th grade. I knew that it was out there, that it was like one of those what do you call it? Like a storyboard. And I don't know. I'm just so excited. I'm so speechless right now. It's incredible. I love the character, the personality that each one of the Bad Batch members brings to the group. I love Crosshair. Like he's got this like sophisticated, Wild West kind of a vibe to him, yet he's like a sniper and tech and record. It's very reminiscent of my time playing the Star Wars Republic Commandos video game, which was one of my favorite games of all time. And it's been in my personal headcanon that Echo has been alive and that he survived the Citadel incursion the whole time. And it's been in my headcanon, and I'm so glad that they confirmed it, because holy cow, I'm so excited. I love the clones, and I love the variation that they get in their personalities, and I absolutely love it. I'm trying to think of specific thoughts. I think it's really cool that in this part of the war, Rex, he gets a lot of attention because he's one of the main characters, but like in terms of his special ability and special training that he's got, like Cody is more qualified for a mission like this. But I like how they really accentuated the fact that Cody is a tactical mastermind, and the reason why they have not been doing so well is because they have been using Rex's playbook for the majority of the war, and his strategies, while really effective, have been picked up on, and they're starting to get noticed. And I think it's really cool that they highlighted his his tactical ability and his knowledge. Very cool. And the fact that Echo is the one feeding them intel, incredible. I love the fact that Jesse was made an ARC trooper, super cool, like a minor plot detail, but something I think he is very capable and deserving of. And the I want to see more from them. I hope that this isn't the only part of season 7 that they're a part of, even though it would make sense that they would have to go off onto more elite missions elsewhere that require their attention. It would be cool to see more from them in the future. And on that note, if Galaxy of Heroes has not added the Bad Batch to the game in 3 months' time, I am quitting forever, because we need more clone content on Galaxy of Heroes. We need it bad, and I want it here. I want it now. I want the Bad Batch. I want Jesse as an ARC trooper. I want a kit update for possibly Echo, but also Cody. I think Cody deserves a kit update. But that's not really here nor there. It's just kind of what I would love to see based on the Clone Wars from Galaxy of Heroes, from Capital Games. It would be stupid if they just let these characters lie, because they're just fantastic. So yeah, I don't have very many well-formed thoughts right now. I'm just super excited. I love my clone content. I love it. And I love the personalities and the intricacies of their characters. And I am so glad we're finally getting to see the Bad Batch on screen. And I had no idea that they were planning to debut the new season with the Bad Batch story. And I got really excited whenever I looked. I sat down for my 8 a.m. class and I looked on Disney Plus to see if it was up yet, and it was, and the first episode was Bad Batch, and I almost peed my pants. I was so excited. I just finished watching it now, but I'm probably going to watch it like 3 more times today, because I love it. I love it. And I cannot wait for next week. So I'm gonna cut it off there, because that's like basically my only intelligent thoughts about it. But I thank you guys at TNAP over there for giving me the opportunity to submit my thoughts, even though I'm not recording with you guys this week. But thank you all for listening and putting up with my crazy, excited, enthusiastic thoughts here for a couple minutes. And I will be on with you guys next week, most likely. So I look forward to seeing you then. And take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you to Spencer for letting us know that his name is Crosshairs.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I kind of figured that was
something
what
like that.
He was going to say.
It very much excites me. Is I didn't know when exactly he'd be home, but it sounds like he'll actually be in house for some of the episode reviews, which excites me very much. And normally Joel beats him home, so we'll probably have like a full house to do. We might have a full house for the Siege of Mandalore. Here, here isn't inside of the computer, probably.
Okay.
But like in
maybe
this
we
room,
could get doling as well.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Once you guys are done with class and his schedule frees up, because I miss him dearly. I'm sure our listeners.
Poor senior.
Yeah. But yeah, that is our first post Clone Wars episode, and that is a crazy sentence to say out loud.
Hoped you liked it.
Levi, where can the lovely people find you, my friend?
Oh, they can find me at St. Vincent College Monday through Friday, and also on Twitter if you can't make it in person.
If you can't make it.
So you can find me on Twitter at Professor Levi.
Yeah.
But I'm probably not going to be on. So, Jarod.
Yes.
Where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, as well as YouTube. Be sure to check out our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com. Thank you. We have some cool stuff coming down the pipeline very soon for you guys. Yes, we do.
Ooh.
So be ready to have your ears graced with all kinds of nerdy goodness. Really getting things moving here. on campus. Thank you guys all so much for listening. We are honored that you have joined us, and may the Force be with you.
Class dismissed.